Okay, this morning we are tenant profiling. Maybe a bad thing to do, but we're going to talk about older tenants and how they go in our rental properties with expert property manager Cleo Whithear. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Cleo,
Hi, happy Halloween.
happy Halloween. Is it today?
Yes, today.
Good luck. What are you getting up to for it?
But we're going to go trick-or-treating around Warriewood Valley. There's a estate there where all the homeowners really get into it and the kids love it. And yeah, so we're going to take them trick-or-treating down there.
How good's that? How good's that? So, Cleo, profiling tenants, screening tenants, in living with, enduring tenancies. You've got a hell of a lot of them. So you've got a good metric to for a show like this, or to say to a landlord, I feel I got a good gut about this one and I got a bad gut about this one. What do you want to talk about today when it comes to that?
Well, I think when having a choice of applicant, you firstly, apart from doing reference checking and all of that, you've got to choose the right tenant that's going to suit that property. We have a couple of buildings where we manage the properties and they're all over 55s. They're not officially over 55s, but it's a known thing that when we do advertise, we require a mature person to move in to match the aesthetics of the building. I have a property coming up recently, and one of the girls in the office was like, this is perfect for my aunt, can she have it? But she has 2 kids. You can't discriminate against children, but this particular building is no pets, no young people. It's all over 55s, mature people. And I guess that sparked my topic for today. Are they better tenants? I find that
I think you're
our
heading into dangerous waters here, Cleo. I'm just
I know.
waiting for you to hang yourself on this one.
That's okay. That's okay because look, we give young people a start all the time in property as well. Like it's just one of those things where I often thought, like, if you have a over 55 building, is it discrimination to say that no young people can live there? It is technically, you can't, when you buy a townhouse that's for over 55s only, you can't be a first home buyer and move in, can you? Or can you?
Yeah, well, the over 55s is a real tricky one because the occupant, an occupant, doesn't mean if they're staying there permanently or not permanently. Occupant must be over 55s, mentally disabled or physically disabled if they're not over 55. So there's some pretty interesting sort of loopholes around there. But I think in all seriousness, and without discriminating, there are profiles that fit landlords.
Yeah.
And it probably starts more with the landlord than it does the property. So that's the landlord's appetite for, I've had a really good run with this type of tenant. If you could find that style of tenant, it would suit us best. Look, if we don't, it's not the end of the world. But, to give you an idea, I just got off the phone this morning with a client of mine. Daughter's moving to Canberra. Lovely home, lovely family. Dad's going to be, paying the rent. 3 girls moving into a house. All uni students, never lived together, and
Wow.
don't earn any money. It's a common story. And where do you start? But But I think, with today we're asking if older tenants are better renters. Um, what would you say to that?
I feel like their level of commitment to that property is really passionate and respectful. We very rarely have rent arrears for tenants that are more mature. Falling behind in rent would be embarrassing for them. So they are always on top of things like rent, communication wise. They don't like to ask for a lot. Um, they don't like to bother you as such, because they feel like they're a bother. I don't know, it's just one of the things when you get older, I guess. You don't want to be a burden to your friends or your family. You like to
Yeah.
maintain your independence, and having that rental property and being independent is really important for our aging population.
Yeah.
And not everyone wants to live in a community living environment or a nursing home or a village. They want to have that independence, like I just said. So having that property they're really grateful for. Maintaining a property for an over 55s is um, somewhat more involved, because you're looking at things like safety issues a lot. Everything has to be, up to scratch. You usually might have a handyman. Like we have a building where we have a handyman designated for that property, and he goes there and makes sure that, if some of the tenants need help with light globes or blinds or things like that, they do have him that goes there sort of under contract and does work there. Same with the gardens and just maintaining that property. But yeah, it's one of those things that when these properties do come up for rent as well, they are cheaper. And I feel that when I list this one particular property, we're going to get inundated, and I'm delicately trying to navigate how we again say, well, it's just for people that are over 55, because it will go up to the platforms, realestate.com. It'll go everywhere, and you can actually still put that in text, I'm pretty sure, only over 55s.
Yeah.
But
With the
yeah,
buildings that are like that, absolutely.
yeah.
Um, so I guess those guys that are over 50. So if you're a landlord out there, if your property manager's ringing you up and your property manager's saying, look, I've got a couple that are sort of in their 50s or 60s, you should probably feel that there's a little bit more assurance with that, from your experience.
Correct, yes. And that's something that a lot of our clients would lean towards. If it's a building, however, that requires a lot of attention as far as maintenance, and there's a lot of steps, or there's a lot of this, like there's a lot of elements to the property that might become a problem, then an owner might sway away from that type of thing. I did have a property, oh gosh, where it had a retaining wall that was really dodgy, and it was still okay, but it was out of bounds to that area, and we couldn't rent it to anyone with families, with young kids, because they weren't prepared to maintain that level of repair. So that was difficult, because everyone that was applying were families, and we had to keep saying no,
Oh,
because the owner, he's really worried about this retaining wall. He doesn't want anyone falling over and falling into this crevice. It was chaos. But yeah, I do feel there is a type of tenant that suits the property. At the moment, we don't have a lot of rental stock. We do have a lot of tenants, and owners are selective with who they're choosing for their property.
is it firing up again? What's the temperature in the rental market at the moment? Like compared to the quarter before last or the quarter before last?
Things have slowed down. I had a lady calling me yesterday from the office who's from Bondi, and her budget is $950 a week, happy for a one bedder, and she can't find anything. So I was shocked. I'm like, $950, that's a huge amount of rent to be prepared to pay for only a one bedroom. Granted, she's probably looking for something really high end. She doesn't want old, she doesn't want 70s
Wow.
bathroom. But yeah, she said, what can I do? She called the office for advice, just normal number, like just rang through. I happened to pick up the phone, and she was saying like, I've even offered more money. My application's tight. I've got references. I'm just not getting these properties. What can I do?
So
So
is it rallying again, the market? So is there a lack of stock and the prices are starting to punch up again? Or what do you mean? It sounds like
yeah,
that
I believe so. Lack of
it's not as
stock.
transactional, so gets quieter in terms of workload, but in
Well,
terms
tenants
of
aren't giving notice. We're not getting tenants moving out at the moment. They're
summer's
not
coming,
choosing. Yeah, like people are staying put again now. So out of a
settling for
big,
Christmas.
yeah, that's right. Selling for Christmas, New Year's, schooling. If anyway. That yeah, I'm trying to be positive about it. That there will possibly be more stock that will come on, and tenants will move. But at the
Yeah,
moment, there isn't a lot. We've halved our rental stock list. We've got ample
that's a big
people on the
number,
ground. It is. It's
right?
huge. It's huge. I've got I had one property for rent this week in the Carlisle,
Yep.
706. I leased it yesterday.
And I think to
I've
give
got
people a
nothing.
reference, yeah, wow, to give people a reference, it's where we're managing just under 2,000 properties and our stock levels will bounce between 20 to 60 on the market at any one time. At the moment, it's 20. That's low.
Very low. Very
Yeah, right.
low. It'll give the property managers an opportunity to, finalize the year, look at any, properties that might need a facelift, some recommendations for 2025, where we can start being proactive in what we do rather than, just juggling the circus sometimes. But,
Yeah.
it's okay. Well, yeah. I don't mind this little quiet lull where we can catch up and talk to landlords a bit more and that. But for the tenants out there that are still looking, I would just be getting my name down, having those alerts on, going to as many open homes, and settling for something if you're planning to stay on the beaches for this Christmas period.
Stunning. Cleo, thank you. That's your
Thank you.
rental update. That's what's happening that's the sentiment towards more older tenants that our landlords share, and property managers out there. And have a great day.
I will. I'm looking forward to all the trick or treat chocolate tonight. See you guys.
And Melbourne Cup.
Oh, Melbourne Cup next week. Yeah, got to get ready for that.
All right. Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.